The story of Call of the Night Season 2 takes place in the quiet, empty streets of Tokyo at night. For the main characters, the night is not just a time to sleep, it is a safe haven away from the loud, exhausting demands of the daytime world. The show builds a very specific world with its own set of rules about how vampires work. In this universe, becoming a vampire is not just about getting bitten. It requires a human to actually fall in love with the vampire who bites them. This rule changes everything because it means becoming supernatural is tied directly to real human emotions. The vampires themselves are not just monsters, they are lonely individuals who have chosen the night because they couldn't fit into normal society. They live by a strict code to keep themselves hidden, creating a secret community that exists right under the noses of regular people. This setup creates a constant tension between the desire to live forever and the deep, heavy boredom that comes with having too much time. Ko Yamori is a middle school student who cannot sleep and has completely checked out of his normal life. His biggest struggle is that he feels absolutely nothing toward the things he is supposed to care about, like school, making friends, and fitting in. This lack of emotion makes him feel broken, and his main goal is to fall in love with a vampire named Nizuna Nanakusa so he can leave his human life behind forever. For Ko, turning into a vampire is a way to escape the pressure of growing up. Nizuna, on the other hand, looks confident and carefree on the outside, but she carries her own emotional weight. She is a vampire who doesn't really understand love herself, and she uses jokes and a playful attitude to keep people at a distance. As the second season moves forward, their relationship becomes much more complicated. They're two lonely people trying to figure out how to connect, and Nizuna starts to realize that she can't keep hiding behind her cool attitude if she wants to help Ko. The main trouble in this season comes from new characters who act as enemies, but are really just twisted versions of Ko and Nizuna. These antagonists have their own reasons for what they do, mostly stemming from the same loneliness that the main characters feel.
However, their goals are dangerous because they want to force their own ideas on everyone else, which would destroy the freedom that the night offers. They do not want to rule the world in a typical villain way. Instead, they want to change the rules of how vampires and humans live together. This creates a big problem for the whole nightly community. The society of the night depends on staying secret and leaving people alone. So when these new forces start breaking the rules, it threatens to ruin the safe space that Ko and Nizuna rely on. This friction drives the story forward, moving it away from simple hangouts and toward a much bigger conflict. In terms of how the story moves, the season starts out slowly, focusing on small nightly adventures before building up to a larger mystery. The creators do not rush into big fights right away. Instead, they spend a lot of time showing the characters talking, walking through city, and slowly learning about each other's pasts. This slow burn style makes the moments of danger feel much more serious when they finally happen. The past plays a huge role in this season as old secrets come to light and show Ko that the vampire world is not just a fun escape, it has a dark history. As the episodes progress, the danger grows from personal relationship doubts into a larger conspiracy that could change the nocturnal world forever, forcing the characters to stop running away and start making real choices. The way the show looks is incredibly important for explaining how the characters feel. The animation uses the massive empty buildings and streets of Tokyo to show how small and isolated Ko and Nizuna are. They are often framed standing alone under a single street lamp or sitting on top of a giant roof surrounded by darkness. The colours are bright and strange, using lots of purples, pinks and blues that make the night look beautiful, but also a little bit unnatural. The camera angles are often wide and distant, which makes the viewer feel the physical and emotional space between the characters. When characters argue or feel upset, the lines of the buildings and the framing of the shots become sharper and more crowded, visually trapping them in their own worries. The sound design works hand in hand with these visuals to set the mood. The music is a mix of electronic beats and quiet, dreamy tunes that match the feeling of walking through a city after midnight.
When the characters are just relaxing, the music is smooth and comforting, making the night feel like a wonderful secret. But when things get serious, the music drops out completely, leaving only the sound of footsteps, wind, or breathing. This use of silence is very powerful because it makes the dialogue feel much heavier and more important. The audio constantly shifts between the artificial buzz of neon signs and the deep quiet of empty alleys, perfectly matching the character's internal struggle between the loud, messy human world and the quiet, lonely vampire world. By the time the season reaches its end, the characters are forced to make a major sacrifice. The story shows that you cannot change who you are without giving something up. Ko has to realise that leaving his human life behind means losing his innocence and facing the harsh realities of the vampire world, which is not as perfect as he thought. Nazuna has to drop her guarded attitude and risk getting hurt by opening up to someone else. The climax of the season demands that they both stop pretending and face their true feelings. The resolution does not give them an easy, happy ending where everything is fixed. Instead, it leaves them more mature but also carrying a heavier burden, showing that growing up means making tough choices and living with the consequences in a world that does not stop moving.